I'm Paul Lamb, and I grew up in Sharon, and I've been a member of the Temple since I moved back as a grown-up. In the early 1980s, my family joined the Temple several months before I was born, so we've been going here all my life. And to me, Temple Israel is family, and it's our home.
And this was the place. We had and other people will tell you more about it, but we had a thriving social group. What were they called? Sims. Sharon Young Married Set.
What was donor dinner back then?
Oh, it was huge.
Right.
I've been an active participant in the morning minion for the last 23 years. I've been a daily attendee.
It's wonderful.
And I've seen a lot of people come and avail themselves of the services that we offer, and I think that we fill a very important need in the community.
Doors are the original doors to the first structure of Temple Israel that was dedicated in 1949. This brought you into the sanctuary.
And we are here in the loading dock of the current building.
Correct. And this was added in 1995.
The women were not working, they were home. Sisterhood was to perpetuate Judaism in the home.
Go ahead.
This is where we had the sign that said Temple Israel, listing all the weekly events.
Let's see, I started out very quickly as a member. I worked my way up to the presidency in about 6 years, president of the congregation. And my most memorable experience at that time was signing Rabbi Starr's first contract. So that's something I'm very proud of. If you ask me what my most memorable experience is, that comes every year at Ne'ilah, when all the past presidents go up on the bima together, and you can study the history of the temple, and I'm very proud to be a member of it. I was the second female president.
I feel comfortable here. I feel like I have a spot where I can work, volunteer work, and I can be me at this temple. And people are so warm and kind to our family that this becomes like a second home.
Oh my goodness, the auctions, you couldn't wait
Yeah,
until
that was a temple
the auction.
instead of the,
Yes.
the brotherhood running it up.
That's right.
That was the big event in
Oh
Sharon
my
for the
gosh.
summer.
And everyone tried to raise money by bringing something in. Everyone had a contact here or there, they had donations. It was almost like the old days when they went around.
What got me there? Friends. My peers, my synagogue friends, my Shabbos friends. It's a nice group of people. Socialization. That's
Growing up there, it was a small congregation, very Hamish, and some people now say, well, we're big and it's not so Hamish anymore. But then I have friends who will come for a bar mitzvah from out of town, and at the end they'll say to me, oh, this is such a Hamish shul, why can't why can't my shul be like this? So we have retained that, even though there's more people, it's a bigger family now.
But walking in here and saying, my Bobby and Zadie used to be here, is incredible every time I walk in.
Mm-hmm. So that's...
Every time I walk in, it's part of us. This is our extended family.
My name is Sam Hurwitz. I've been a member of Temple Israel for 53 years. I've seen it grow considerably during that time.
More programs going on. I always think of Temple Israel as a kettle, and it's always boiling. There's always some more activities and more people coming in and more ideas coming in.
Well, the last time I was in Sharon, this building was not here. This building, I think, was put up in 1995, and the first time I came to Sharon was in, I said 84, 85, so it was a much smaller community. But I think that building, from what I understand, had been built up again from the original building that was built probably in 1938. So we've seen an influx of more families, an influx of more young children, coming into the community. A response by the community in building up, community resources that address the needs of young families, both here with the school that we have, on campus, the expansion of brotherhood, the expansion of sisterhood, the expansion of Azak, the great support we have with other Jewish institutions.
I think we've made a lot of changes. I've lived through the ritual committee and the women's issues, being counted in a minyan, getting an aliyah, etc., etc.
He passed away. I already that year had an adult bat mitzvah. I studied with Cantor Lou then and learned Haftorah Tro, and had a wonderful Shabbat morning on the Beamer with my bat mitzvah. And then that same year my father passed away, and I started saying Kaddish for him, which introduced me to the morning minyan, and what a wonderful supportive community it is.
Ed Berger. I've been in Sharon since 1933, and I was one of the first boys that bar mitzvah at Temple Israel, except it was at the Mansion House, which is where the property is now. And my father was one of the founders of the Jewish Community Center of Sharon. I think that was 1935 or 1936, I'm not sure.
Oh, hi. My name is Elaine Corman. I lived in Sharon for 64 years.
The energy for the shul to grow, and the energy, to me anyhow, or at least a large part of it, is when you're building something, when you're accomplishing something, people get involved because there's an excitement to having goals and reaching those goals. And that, of course, was part of our expansion, not only membership-wise, but building-wise, was the fact that we needed a bigger Hebrew school and we needed a better stage.
You cannot imagine the war that went on when they wanted to change the Temple Israel. No, I'm sorry.
The Sharon
Hebrew Ladies'
Aid.
The
Sisterhood
to
Temple
Sisterhood.
Israel.
Thanks, Mickey. There was such an emotional flare-up from certain people, especially in my family, right, because they would lose something in changing the name. I mean,
What
that
did they
was
feel that they were losing?
that strong
A sense of history, the strong
feeling.
never
Occurred to me not to.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. Our friends are here. Our support system is here. Our children were involved here when they lived
It's also
here.
a tremendous time for those of us from the Boston area, the Dorchester area, to bask in the kuvod, for my mother to come out and see me on the Bimmer as president.
We are members because of past history. We would never not think of not belonging, even though we come here twice a year. We're only here in Sharon 6 months of the year. Just the past history is why we always belong.
Why belong to it? I ask that question every year when I get my bill for the dues. Because it's part of it's our family, it's our culture, it's our tradition. Even though you can daven by yourself, Judaism is a religion that is based on a group and a minyan, and there must be something in our genes that says after 40 years of wandering the desert that we need to come into a common tent and be together.